Welcome everyone. Hey Jerry, welcome to the stream. Hey Rudy, welcome to the stream. Thanks for being here. Well, I certainly hope you get some use out of it anyway. Playing this game certainly is one of my favorite things to do right now as well. Hey Darren, thanks for being here. Good morning to you as well. Hey Philip, thanks for being here. Yeah, I remember those days. Every Saturday morning getting up to watch cartoons. Hey Lord Henry, welcome. Yeah, of course, I haven't watched cartoons in so many years. I'm sure cartoons are a lot different for kids on Saturday morning than they were when I was growing up. Of course, I don't know if they even still have the old standbys like when I was a kid. No worries, Philip. The video will go up immediately afterwards, and I should have the chapter markers up, you know, within half an hour or so afterwards. So feel free to jump on and watch it later on if you'd like. Yeah, I really don't know. You know, honestly, back in the days of Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck and Roadrunner and the Coyote and Marvin the Martian. But then there were also the cartoon series that I got to watch. You know, He-Man and G.I. Joe and all of those things back when I was a kid too. Oh boy, Rudy. Yeah, my ancestry is German, so I've been lucky enough to spend a little time over there and visit my ancestral home. Hey, Steven, welcome to the stream. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I can trace our family ancestry back a very long ways to Germany, and like I say, before our family immigrated to the United States, several generations ago. So yeah, I was able to trace it back to my ancestral hometown and go visit and spend a couple of days there. My German is 20 years rusty, and it's a small town, so not a lot of people spoke English, but it was good being able to spend time there, and it was very beautiful too. So I was just amazed about the whole thing. Waldfischbach Bargoben. Yeah, it's actually a little bit southwest of Kaiserslautern, which is where a lot of U.S. military is from. And then, I guess, straight south of Cologne, southwest of Frankfurt. Hey, Cyber Samurai, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Yeah, the origin of my family name is from there in the town where my ancestors originally owned a tavern. Way a few hundred years ago. Well, I hope everybody's personal playthroughs are coming along really well. I'm just about to exit Act 1 on mine. Finally made it to Act 3. Yeah, I'm anxious to explore all the new stuff in Act 2 here. Like I say, I'm just about ready to enter into it. But it has been really interesting to see all the changes that they've made to the Act 1 content. Yeah, Philip, that's still in Act 2. What do you mean you're stuck? Hey Anger, welcome to the stream. Yeah, I'm in the same place as you are. I'm just about finished with Act 1 of my personal playthrough. I think I've explored every nook and cranny in Act 1. But with all the hundreds of hours of playtime that I had in early access, I would expected that I would have been able to find most of the nooks and crannies. It'll be different when I get to Act 2. That doesn't sound very fun, Philip. Yeah, that's the great thing about the game, Lord Henry. There's always a different way to do something or something new to find. Yeah, I think once we get into Act 2 with my new full playthrough character on the Paladin livestream, I think that's going to be interesting. We're going to see a little bit of some changes to the playthroughs on the Paladin livestream coming up here pretty quick, but yeah, Act 2 I think is where things are really going to get fun with that one. Yeah, the enemy of my enemy is my friend thing sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. No, Jerry, I don't. I'm just about to enter into it, my personal playthrough. Could be doing it this weekend or early in the week. So I'm looking forward to it. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to today's live stream. Episode 11 of our Baldur's Gate 3 Bard gameplay series. I'm Commander Jorval, and I want to thank you for coming along on our journey today. So, not much in the way of admin notes for this week. Everything seems to be humming along fairly well on the Baldur's Gate 3 front as far as the game goes, so Nothing really new there, and I don't have any construction going on this weekend, so things should be fairly quiet and serene, assuming that my cats don't do anything crazy. So, but we'll keep an eye on them. So, I think we can skip right into our recap. And at the end of last week, we left off in the Zhentarim hideout. And that's underneath Waukeen's Rest. We had finished the above ground quests in Waukeen's Rest and headed out to the storeroom behind it, entered into the hideout, talked to the leader, perused some inventory, and then we managed to liberate the artist that was being held captive by the Zhentarim down there. And now what we're going to do is kind of explore around inside the Zhentarim hideout, and that shouldn't take us all that long. There's only a couple of things that we're really interested in doing while we're in here. And then once we've explored here, we're going to head back to the Druid's Grove and prep and get ready for finish up one little thing that we have there, and then prep and get ready to head out to the Goblin Camp. And that's what we're going to do for the latter part of the live stream today. So should be fairly interesting with our interactions there and how we want to handle all the stuff outside. But without any further ado, I think I'll go ahead and just get started here, and we'll kind of talk about what we're going to do as we go. But there is something inside of the Goblin Camp that I told all of you we were going to come back and do later, and we definitely want to do it before we do the Goblin Camp. So, looking at my action economy, looks like it's really good, so we should be okay to keep working our way through here. We did go and talk to Brem here and cleaned out our inventory after last time, and we did upgrade some armors and that sort of stuff as well. We do want to talk to Brem.
Something I can help you with?
One more time and just check through
Got some interesting stock for a friend of the family.
Potions real quick. See if he has any here. He doesn't. Okay. But we did go through and upgrade all of our equipment. So I think we're good. So I guess I can do one of these. Keep saying I'm going to do it, and I never do.
Pleasure.
So let's look, for instance, at dyes. So there are various dyes that are throughout the game. You can pick different ones up from different vendors, and they allow you a various degrees of ability to change the look of your items that you're wearing. So, for instance, here, actually, we're going to do it with Lae'zel.
I crave blood.
You can combine here, and, for instance, her chainmail, we can combine it. You can see what it looks like here. You can combine, and now you can see what it looks like, how it changes the effect of it. Okay, so some of your base armors are, early on anyway, are fairly ratty looking. They're rusted and that sort of stuff. And you can get some really interesting cosmetic appearances here on the armors. So it can be something, you know, really interesting for you to explore to see what effects all the dies have. They're not really just dies, they are cosmetic enhancements. So you'll see the shape of things slightly change, the color of things slightly change, the pattern on them slightly change, and that sort of stuff. So keep that in mind. It's always an option that's open and available to you. It's not something I really care about that much inside of the game, but it's certainly there for you. And yeah, I would, like Cyber Samurai says, the descriptions on the dies don't really tell you what's going to happen or what's going to change. So I would definitely drop a save before you purchase a die. And that way you can go in and purchase a bunch of them and try them all out. And then if you don't like any of them, you can reload your save. Or you can then reload your save and just buy the one that you think works. So, but yeah, that's kind of the dying mechanic anyway, and what it does. So, back here in this area, and again, as you scroll through here, all of these things are almost all these things are gonna be marked as steel. So you have to watch what you're clicking on and what you're doing around here.
You seem a nice soul. I'm glad we didn't have to kill you.
Okay, and then again, up here at the top, you can talk to Ollie and Rugen again.
Good to see you. Killed any more beasts out there?
I should speak up.
That drink I promised will have to wait. We're moving out. The elf song's my local. Look me up if you're in the city.
Okay, so let you know that you can find him later on in the Elf Song Tavern, so that's always good. And we had talked to Xeris previously.
Now. That's worth something in Baldur's Gate.
Assuming we make it back there in one piece.
Okay, so again, they're basically letting you know, come see us in Baldur's Gate, inside the city itself, and we will definitely be going to do that. So up here are some of the few items that you can search that are not marked as steel. But again, you do have to be careful with what you're clicking up here, because a lot of these things are still marked steel as well. Oh, just like that. So I don't want to take anything out of them. You can search them without a problem, but you don't want to take anything out of them. At least while you're in line of sight of anybody.
Don't mind if I do.
So here on the table, just a few camp supplies we can pick up. There's also a mug of beer. Don't forget about that. Doesn't show up on alt. And you can read the book here about Captain Morrow. So, but nothing special about it. Okay, so we'll work our way toward the back here. And you can see that we have these proximity explosives. Okay, and you can walk by them. They are proximity, but they're disabled right now. And nothing's going to happen if you walk by them. So back here we have some more.
Nothing to
Zhent.
see here. Move along.
Had a peach of a shot on you as you came in.
Okay, and then back here, looking around, a bunch of things marked as steel, and we do have an iron gate up here that leads into a room that has a chest in it that's marked as steel. And then down here, you see there's a button here. This button is what arms the explosives out there. So I wouldn't go hitting this button unless you are really intent on causing some chaos. Which you certainly can. But that's what that button does. And then we have another iron gate here that leads into a room with, again, a couple more chests that are locked here. So...
Something over there.
Okay, so... And that was just him perceiving the button. So down here, we passed investigation check, and there's a fake wall here. And you can see there's a quest marker behind it. So here, this leads you to all the other quests that we still have active, because that lets you know that there's a way out to the overworld that way. It leads you somewhere else, and you can get to the overworld from there. However, if you go through this wall, you're going to incur the ire of the Zhentarim who are back here, and that's because this leads to their storeroom, where they keep a lot more of their valuables. So if you go in there,
Wouldn't down here if I were you. See all that smoke powder? The flaming fist won't find nothing here but rubble.
So all the Zhentarim down here in this section of the hideout are going to go hostile if you go through there. There's nothing to let you know that that's what's going to happen before you do it. But trust me, as soon as you do, they are going to turn hostile down here, and you're going to have a fight on your hands. Now, you can certainly do that. There's nothing that, keeps you from getting into that fight. However, I want to play out the Zhentarim quests, or the Zhentarim interactions by meeting up with them in Baldur's Gate and all that sort of stuff. So I don't want to cause any more issues down here. But what I will do is put Astarion to work.
Shall we?
Thanks, Darren. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Have a good day. So I'm going to hide here. And I'm going to wait for Yarg and Isbeth to turn around. I'm not in their detection cones right now. But I'm going to wait for them to turn around and leave anyway. Okay, and I was able to hide. Okay, so I think... Oh, that's him. That's Yarg. He turned around. He went to the other side here of the brazier. Okay, so now I'm going to hide. I'm going to go into turn-based mode here. I'm going to have Astarion lockpick the gate. It's a DC of 20. I have got a total bonus of 9 here, and I have advantage on this roll. And now Astarion has access to this room here. So he can search the chest and you get the Abyss Beckoners. We'll pick those up. There's also a bunch of other stuff in here that you can loot. Paintings and and all of that sort of stuff. So if you hold Alt, you can see everything that's in here. You can go pick up. So I'm going to end my turn for everybody.
What to do?
Okay, and now with Astarion, I'm gonna not forget to dash this time. Going to pick up some of these items that are here. And here you get some more clothing. You can see the clothing starting to get a little bit better in quality than the rags and beggars' outfits and that sort of stuff that we were picking up previously. So as you progress farther in the game, you start picking up better clothing. It makes sense that you're out here in the middle of nowhere just picking up a bunch of rags and all that sort of stuff, but you will have access to better stuff as you go along. So again, I'm going to end my turn.
Defender of the people.
And go back, and I'm going to exit out of here after dashing.
Quietly.
Close the door behind me. And all the detection cones are facing the other way. And I'm going to exit turn-based mode. And going to group everybody up. And move everybody down here a little bit, and then I'm going to ungroup them and just take Astarion back up. And that's because there are some fairly strange interactions sometimes with the Zhent who are back here. Even though they didn't see you loot any of this, sometimes they will get suspicious of the fact that either the gate's unlocked or something like that, and they will kind of start wandering around and going, you know, it must have been the strangers and that sort of stuff, and it can get a little strange. So I'm trying not to provoke anything or anyone here.
Let's keep to the shadows.
So now here again, I'm going to go into turn-based mode.
Quietly.
A little bit lower DC. Wow, I'm rolling really, really well so far. This is going to be a problem later on. 15, 16, 17, and 18 have been my 4 rolls. Oops. Wanted to dash, not come out of hiding.
Stay low. A trap.
Okay. So both of these chests are trapped. And it takes an action to disarm the traps.
Where am I needed?
Let's have some fun.
Big Lou, it's the Gloves of Thievery. Again, an incredibly important item to pick up for Astarion, just like the Smuggler's Ring for him, with giving him +2 on sleight of hand. The Gloves of Thievery are definitely something that you want to pick up. So gives you an advantage. We've already talked about how huge a bonus it is. So there we go. There was our first one. Thankfully, advantage took care of it. And yes, Lord Henry, you can, like we had shown in Waukeen's Rest, you can pick up chests and immediately send them to camp from your inventory. So, and that's one of those things here where, again, lockpicking is an action, disarming is an action. So see, it says not enough resources because I don't have any actions. So the safer way to play this is to pick these up, send them to camp, and then open them later, so to speak. Otherwise, it's going to take me 4 turns to be able to disarm and lockpick all of these. However, that's one of those things that, honestly, if I'm being truthful, I don't necessarily believe you should be able to do that.
Time for a little
I'm not entirely sure your DM would let you walk around, you know, with huge chests like this, you know, on your back, and there is no option in tabletop to send to your camp. If you have a bag of holding or something like that that you can actually fit the chest inside, you know, through the mouth of to get it in there, then possibly.
With pleasure.
But yeah, in this game, I tend not to try and do those things unless there's, you know, an overriding reason where I have no other way to do it. Picking up a chest and walking around with it, I don't necessarily think is much of a problem. But picking it up, sending it to your camp so you can pick it and deal with it later, that's probably a little bit too far. For me, anyway. And there's a potion of animal speaking, good, because I wanted to get one of those. And we have more infernal iron, which is useful for Karlach. And a scroll of blur, which is also good. And again, we're now out of actions.
Eager for battle. Let's move.
Something smells tasty.
It's going to be a good size number of 28.
Indolence breeds madness.
Okay, so we'll lockpick this last chest here. Slightly higher DC. But we made it. And in here is just more gold. So just like the previous room, there are other things that you can search in here. There's nothing else in particular that is, you know, super valuable or anything like that in here. So I'm going to dash. And the detection cones are a little weird here, it looks like. So I'm actually going to stay in place.
Maggots will be done.
For now.
Really? Now?
And see if I can get them to render.
Move unseen.
So I think I'm okay with them facing this way. I think I'm okay. At least out to here. I'm going to close the gate. Okay. Now I'll come out of hiding and I'll exit turn-based mode.
That might be worth a look.
Oh, so there's a burrow hole over here as well. Interesting.
That thing is tiny, and I am not.
That is true. They added a lot more of these in the full version. Ways where if you are able to shapeshift or wild shape or gaseous form, you can click on these to take you into a different location. I'm pretty sure that this is probably a way to get into the area behind here without upsetting the Zhentarim. So that's actually pretty cool. If you have a scroll of gaseous form or you have the spell, you'd be able to change into gaseous form, go through the burrow hole, end up behind this wall probably, and be able to explore their storeroom without, like I say, without angering them. That's just a guess on my part, but sounds logical anyway. Okay, so now that we've finished this up, we're gonna head back up here, and you can see we've finished up all the areas in here except for this side area over here, which we'll go explore here, but we're not gonna go this way. We're going to explore that from a different location, or from a different way here in a little bit. So, you can head over here. There is another area down here you can get to. Basically just another way to traverse the area down here. There didn't used to be anything underneath the bridge, but I haven't checked in the full version actually. Okay, so there's still not. Okay, and from here you can jump across to this other side if you'd like. You don't have to. You could just walk back and traverse your way over here like normal.
That's curious.
And it looks like Astarion doesn't want to, so he's going to go all the way back and around. But yeah, that's it. You don't have to jump across. Just another way to get here. The dirt mound is marked as steel. I'm gonna wait for Astarion to get here.
If everyone else minds their business, I'll be fine.
It's packed too tight. I'll need a shovel.
Did I sell all of my shovels? I must have. So let's go back and buy a shovel. There isn't one laying around over here, is there? I didn't check for that. Why did I sell all my shovels? I don't. I've got shovels. I'm gonna say, I knew I had shovels.
Better be cautious. It's packed too tight. I'll need...
Interesting. I wonder if you can't dig while you're hidden.
Don't fancy getting my hands dirty.
Okay. This is interesting. I'm going to experiment a little bit.
Go. No hope of clearing this without a shovel.
This is rather strange. If anybody knows what's happening, can't use actions.
Let's get going.
Keep your distance, darling.
Okay, that was severely bugged. Yeah, for us, it used up all his action and both of his bonus actions to dig that up, and then it kind of glitched out the rendering. So this one's a little bit strange here. Don't entirely know what was going on with this one, but it's just jewelry one way or another. But yeah, that was a little strange. So don't entirely know what was going on there.
Still alive, so that's progress. Can't risk being an open view.
Okay, but we did end up getting it.
Swift as my feet can carry me.
So now looking at our minimap again, we've opened up everything down here in the Zhentarim hideout. So we're going to head out. There's nothing else down here that we want to deal with or explore. We've done everything that we've needed to.
There'll be battle, not this hide and seek stuff.
So now what we're going to do is head back to, we've also done everything up top in Waukeen's Rest. So we're going to head back to the Emerald Grove, because there is something that we want to do back there before we head to the Goblin Camp. And while we're here, we can probably get rid of some of the items that we've picked up. Not really all that important, but and there is something that we're going to want to do also. I almost forgot about it. But while we're here, we'll finish up a couple of things here.
Need anything
in
else?
the Druid's Grove here real quick.
Of course.
We'll have to go to
but
camp.
Please, remember, you're not the only one in need.
Hey, Ostamura. Hey, Big Boss. Welcome to the stream. So we are going to get rid of some things here. Okay. And just thinking about what I might want to change some clothing into. So I'll probably end up keeping those just for the look of it. The Infernal Iron we're going to keep for now, but we are going to move it off of this character here in a second. Okay.
Sylvanus be with you.
Okay, so we do need to remember to move this to our main character. We're going to move the Potion of Animal Speaking over there as well. And now for this, I think I will change out some of our clothing. I like his tasteful boots better, and there we go. I think we'll skip the sandals. Okay. So let's head back to our camp real quick. We're not going to rest.
Good time for a chat.
Need something? Oh, darling, I'm hurt. I thought we had something special. I guess I'll spend my evenings lounging here while you do all the hard work. It sounds awful.
And we're going to talk to Karlach.
Hey,
Let's go, go, go.
Okay, and now we can level up Karlach while we're here. So Karlach is a barbarian. So here you're from level 1 to level 2 for barbarians. The main things that you get are reckless attack, which gives you advantage on your attack rolls. However, enemies have advantage against you for the remainder of that turn as well. So it can be really good, especially when you know that you're in a point where you can take out a bunch of enemies that might be around you all in the same turn. But one way or another, reckless attack is almost always how you end up fighting with a barbarian one way or another. You also get danger sense, so you get advantage on dexterity saving throws as well, and that can be very, very useful, especially with spells. So if you get hit by something like fireball and that sort of stuff, you have to make a dexterity saving throw to take half damage. You have advantage on that, so it can be very, very nice. Yeah, Big Lou, I know that's something on the forums they've certainly talked about. Everyone hopes that there's a way that they can change that in the future, because right now it's not good. It's not a great way to do it. So here because she is a tiefling, at level 3 she gets Searing Smite as an action that she can do. This is just like the Searing Smite that you get from the Paladin. It does 2d6 fire damage, and then it sets the target on fire and they take additional fire damage every turn. It is a little bit different from how the Paladin works in that this takes an action and a bonus action to do. So you are certainly going all in to add that additional damage. So her subclass right now, there's a couple of different choices. So Wild Heart, you gain Speak with Animal spells here. So, and you also gain Bestial Heart, which is any of these beast totems, so to speak, add an additional benefit to your rage. If you're not familiar with it, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but barbarians here get a class feature called Rage. We gained an additional rage charge here, and that basically turns you into a mindless beast who's going out to do as much damage as you possibly can. And the rage stays active as long as you continue to deal damage on your turns, or 10 turns, whichever one comes first. So the Wild Heart ability here gives you Bestial Heart, and these add different things to your rage. So Bear Heart gives you resistance to all damage. Eagle Heart, you can use Divine Strike, which gives you advantage on your attacks. But it also, and then foes also have disadvantage on opportunity attacks. So they all add different things to your rage, and Bearheart especially can be very, very good. Having resistance to all damage types and having unrelenting ferocity, which is basically a way to heal yourself, can be very, very useful. The others can be situationally more useful, but the Bear Heart and to a lesser extent the Eagle Heart are the two that are most commonly used. That comes with the Wild Heart subclass. Wild Magic it gets you an action of magical awareness, so anyone within range as their proficiency bonus to saving throws against spells. So it's a 3-meter radius around you. So if you're all grouped up in an area and somebody casts, fireball or sleep or something like that, and you have to make a saving throw against it, everybody around you gets to add their proficiency bonus to that saving throw. You also get the Wild Magic Rage here, which is a rather interesting effect. It's somewhat similar to the Sorcerer's Wild Magic, in that it causes a random magical effect around you when you enter your rage. You also have resistance to physical damage and advantage on strength checks and saving throws for 10 turns. And again, can be interesting, but kind of, in my opinion, the lesser of them. Berserker is the quintessential barbarian subclass. When you think of damage dealing and all out moving around the battlefield and inflicting as much damage on multiple enemies as you can, the Berserker subclass is where that's at. And that's because of Frenzy. Frenzy, it replaces your rage. It's no longer raging. It's called frenzying. And when you're in Frenzy, you now gain Frenzied Strike, which is a bonus action melee attack. So this now allows you to use your bonus action to do an additional attack, very similar to like extra attack. But you're using your bonus action to do it. So this allows you to basically get an extra attack before you get your extra attack at level 5. You're also able to do an enraged throw, and this is actually situationally very useful. Because of the verticality in this game, if you are able to pick up an enemy and throw them off of the vertical surface or the cliff or the bridge or whatever you're on to take fall damage, that can be very, very useful. And Enraged Throw is not based on a saving throw like the shove action is. It's simply based upon your strength compared to the weight of the character that you're trying to throw. And for the most part, you're going to be able to throw almost anything that is your size or smaller. So Enraged Throw is can almost be utilized more like a more reliable version of Shove to move enemies off of high ground and cause fall damage to them. So can be very, very useful as well. So it takes a bonus action to do it. So you can either use your bonus action to cause full additional damage with your melee weapon, or to throw a creature or throw an item at another creature or something like that. So I think that's the way I'm going to go with Karlach here. And then level 4 is a health increase, and you get a feat. Now, your feat for your barbarians or for your martial melee classes, this is your first opportunity to really figure out how you want to progress and what you want to do with how your character is going to approach combat. For barbarians, especially if you've chosen the Wild Heart and you've gone with something like Eagle, where you can gain advantage on your attacks, that can make something like Great Weapon Master much more reliable for the additional damage. If you're able to gain advantage on your attacks, then you can offset that -5 attack roll penalty a lot easier when you're going. Also, all other types of combat-based stuff, like Polearm Master, also can affect how you want to play your character. Polearm Master can be really good when you're using any of the polearms here in the game. You can use your bonus action to attack with the butt of your weapon. That doesn't deal a whole lot of damage. However, if you're a paladin, you can add smite to that butt of your weapon attack, which can really boost the damage. But you can also make an opportunity attack when a target walks up to you and comes within range. And that's where the Polearm Master feat really shines, is that somebody can walk up to you, try and attack you, and you get an opportunity attack, and you could possibly, kill them entirely before they even get a chance to attack you. So the Polearm Master, in combination with somebody or with something like Sentinel or something like that, can be very, very powerful, because Sentinel basically is going to allow you, now you have advantage on those opportunity attacks from Polearm Master, and when you hit the creature, they can no longer move. So if you're using a polearm, those have extra reach. That means that you can stop an enemy that walks up to you, and you stop them farther away so that they're not within melee range of you, and you can retreat from them or walk away from them on your turn without provoking an attack of opportunity. And then on the next turn, they walk toward you again, they get within range, you use your opportunity attack to stop them in place, and then you can, on your next turn, deal damage, run away, rinse and repeat over and over and over again. And they never get an attack on you, as long as you continue to land your opportunity attack every time. So this is where, like I say, with your martial classes, you really start figuring out how you want to play your character. It's not just, I'm going to pick a feat because of it gives me a bonus on this or a bonus on that. It can radically change how you're physically going to think about your tactics in combat. So here for Karlach, she's going to have access to a lot of feats, because I'm going to be multi-classing her a little bit as we go. So for now, I'm just going to go with ability improvement, and I'm going to get her strength and her constitution up. So now she's getting a +4 bonus from strength and a +3 bonus from constitution. However, I'm going to be coming back to her with some of these other feats that we talked about here in a little bit. Okay, so Karlach is now with us. The only reason I'm bringing Karlach along...
What do we have here?
Looking ahead.
...is just for this interaction, and then she... Oh, did I sleep there? Sorry, I didn't want to sleep there. I want to go back to... or I want to leave camp. Wasn't thinking. Okay, now Karlach wants to talk, so we might as well go through these.
So, hey, we've got this soul coin, right? Thing is, I think I can use it. My engine can, anyway. Zariel used to top me up every now and again when she wanted me to go after an especially wicked target. Sort of. Next time we find ourselves toe-to-toe with something we want to squash, drop a coin in. See what happens. Fuck yes. Now I just need something to sink my teeth into.
Okay, and that lets you know about a little bit more about soul coins. You can use them, and she'll be able to
I'd love to, thanks.
Karlach will be able to consume soul coins, and she is going to gain some benefits
Never a dull moment.
from that. And maybe as we progress through more of her personal questline, we'll be able to see how some of that plays out. But for now, I'm not really interested in playing or having Karlach be a long-term member of the party yet. But I do want to have an interaction down here.
You're an idiot.
What's up for discussion?
Thought I sensed an infernal around here. But you aren't from Elturel. What's your story?
I spent a good bit of time in the Hells. Enlisted against my will by the Archdevil Zariel. Same as you, I suppose, if you're from Elturel. The devils were delighted when your city was swallowed up. I thought they had you for keeps. Glad you got out.
I got lucky. It looks like you did too. And you brought some infernal machinery with you.
A little gift from Zariel. Keeps me burning hot.
Very hot by the smell of it. Might be burning out a piston ring or leaking oil. Mind if I take a listen?
Be my guest. But don't get too close or your eyes will melt shut.
Phew! You really are burning up. Whoever put that engine together tried to house metallurgized demono valves inside a Ragnak's alloy casement. Very risky. I might be able to help. I'd need infernal iron. And a prayer that my hammer will survive the work. That thing isn't meant to operate outside of Ernest. I'm not sure how much longer it'll keep running the way it's going.
Will you be able to turn down the temperature a little? Worried I'm gonna go in for a handshake and singe someone's arm off one of these days.
I'd worry about surviving the night first. But help one, help both. If we can cool you off, it'll stabilize your engine and allow you to touch whomever you please.
Hey, soldier. I think we picked up some of that infernal iron already. What say you? Should I give it to him? Please let this work.
The weight of it. And that blaze of chaos. Can't imagine this where my heart should be. Must be quite the experience. Give me just a moment. And I think... There. You'll have to install it, I'm afraid. I don't think there are thick enough gloves in all the realms to protect from that kind of heat.
That feels... good. I'm still burning hot as hell's hole, but I feel less... changeable. Cheers, mate.
Pleasure. And as for the heat, I haven't got any solutions now, but I'm not giving up. could be if the combustion chamber had its own insulation, or if we had some kind of enchanted coolant. Find me again in Baldur's Gate. If I'm worth my salt, I'll have figured something out by then. Take care, Karlach. And hopefully the next time I see you, I'll have something promising to report. Pocket any infernal iron you find along the way,
Okay, so let's have a quick chat with Karlach.
Damon's upgrade didn't cool me down, but it did juice me up. I don't think I've ever felt more powerful. Sooner rather than later would be good. I feel like I'm burning serious fuel. That's what I like to hear. Now, let's trot. Standing still is making my skin itch.
Okay, and yeah, I think the on-stream display of the chat is frozen again. I don't know why. I'm gonna probably change out this chat mechanism, how it works. Not entirely sure why it freezes up, but it seems to occasionally. It was fine all last stream, but then about 2/3 through the stream before that, it froze up. So don't know why. Haven't been able to figure out why. I'll do some more experimenting off stream and see if I can come up with something. But so Damon is a smith who is able to modify Karlach's heart, and during that interaction, we did an upgrade and mentioned that he wants us to come find him again in Baldur's Gate to do a second upgrade and to keep any infernal iron that we find. Well, we had found 2 pieces already, but right now there's no more. We can't do the second upgrade here. He wants us to come find him later while he does some more research, and at that time we'll be able to meet him again. Now, I'm not gonna go through spoilers here, but there will be some other interactions with Damon that you'll want to have. So get this one out of the way here first before the tieflings leave the camp, so that you have this first upgrade over with and done before you travel your further travels to meet up with Damon somewhere else. So, like I say, just wanted to bring Karlach into the party to be able to do that, but I'm going to remove her and bring back Lae'zel or bring back Astarion.
Soldier. Let's hope Damon is as good as he seems. Once my engine's handled, I can focus on more important matters. Tadpoles, cults, frosty pints.
Okay, so I'm going to remove Karlach here.
Really? Oh, fine. I'll be here eating dirt or whatever.
I know she's a fan favorite, and we'll get back to Karlach, no doubt.
Hello. What can I do for you? Darling.
And the voice actor behind Karlach is hilarious. So, if you haven't seen anything from, of her on social media or online, it's go check her out. She's hilarious. Okay, so now I am going to finish up the other thing that we want to do here in camp. And remember, there was a rat that was roaming out here, And that rat went into underneath these doors here. Okay. And we're going to move.
I'm gonna bite the heads off your kids, and your birdies, and your dogs.
And we're going to move into here and make our way across here, make sure everybody joins up with us. And we're going to jump across over here. Okay, so again, it looks like not everybody joined us.
Careful, I bite.
You're gonna be sorry, every last one of you.
Step quick.
And I don't need everybody over here, I guess. I definitely do want a Starian with me here.
Have a lot on my mind. And
But for here, I'm going to move
Sharp as ever.
everybody back a little bit. And we do have some torch stalks. Okay. Okay, so we're going to continue making our way up here. And there's a pouch here that we can search. Scroll of magic weapon and some other items. We'll send this to Will. We'll take all of these.
How much farther can I go?
Okay, and see inside of here you see Pandurna.
Stop! This place is off limits. Leave.
Okay, so we have some various checks here that we can try and make. Our persuasion is going to be our best check here. Oh boy, we've gotten really good rolls here, chat.
Damn it! Was inventory today? I'm sorry. Nerves are shot after the attack. Do what you gotta do. Sorry if I don't show you around. I just fall back down. Legs are as steady as a foal's. Bloody potion! From the old lady in the cave. The one with the lotions and potions. To her credit, it worked. I'm as strong as a bugbear. And fearless. Course she also warned of side effects. Should have listened. Now I'm stuck guarding crates.
Yeah, looks like all of you in the chat have the right idea. It's the same thing I'm worried about.
All right. I guess being fearless won't help if an arrow comes flying right at me.
Okay, so here it gave me that option because it knows that I have a spell available that can heal Pandurna, and that is Lesser Restoration. Cure a creature from disease, poison, paralysis, or blindness, and you can see that she's paralyzed. The Lesser Restoration spell here comes from the amulet that I picked up.
My foot. It moved. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Any goblin comes near me now, and they'll regret it. I feel amazing. Look, you're not really supposed to be here, but I'll turn a blind eye. Just don't touch anything, all right?
Okay, so I'm gonna bring
Close. Tread lightly.
Starian up here.
Come. Goblins, no.
And you can get in here without jumping or anything, just by clicking down inside of here.
Should be easy.
You've been spotted fiddling with that lock. Best fiddle with
And I
something
didn't
else.
go into hiding before I did that.
Still breathing, despite everything.
Look, between us, you're not supposed to be here. But I'll turn a blind eye. Just don't touch anything, all right?
Okay, and now going to go into turn-based mode.
Well, hello.
And I should be out of her detection cone. No, nope, she turned to look at me again.
Into the shadows.
No one back home will ever believe this.
Look, but just don't touch any...
Okay, and I can't tell again. Okay, so now she's faced away and Astarian's not in her detection cone.
With ease.
And you can, yes, Eric. You can use Bard Performance to distract somebody as well. In this case, I know that if I just talk to her, it reorients her. So...
Nice and easy.
True.
Okay.
Never buying a potion off that old bat
So
again.
you can talk to the rat again, and I'm going to, since I still have all of my action economy here, I'm going to drink the potion of animal speaking. Because I'm going to need it in the Goblin Camp as well.
The evil thing's in the chest.
Okay? And the rat here told me I shouldn't have gone into turn-based mode there. I needed to hide first. And then go into turn-based mode.
I'm ready.
Free for the taking.
Okay, so now you can search the pantry chest. And she turned around. I'm not entirely sure why she did that. There's a cabinet key here. Okay, and then you have the alchemist cabinet behind her, which that unlocks using the cabinet key. And in here you find various potions and that sort of stuff. Now, when you talk to the rat again... Nope. Still in hiding. Don't want to try and pickpocket the rat.
Never buying a potion off that old bat again.
Come here.
The evil thing's gone. Now, where was I?
Okay, so he's basically just letting you know that's what he chipped his tooth on. He chipped his tooth on the key. And you took the key out of there, used it to unlock the alchemist cabinet, and that's what he was letting you know. It was kind of a way of the game kind of leading you through the actions here to be able to loot this over here. So, nothing really spectacular or anything like that, but just an interesting little side portion to the Druid's Grove.
Don't be grumpy, Volo.
I'm gonna bite the heads off your kids and your burdens.
And now I can just group everybody back up. So yeah, what Eric was also talking about is bards have their performance class action. It basically draws the attention of everyone within a radius around you. So if you're trying to either distract characters who you cannot have a dialogue interaction with, or if you're trying to distract a group of NPCs, perform is definitely the way to go. You can have a performance, everybody can group up around you, then you can go into turn-based mode and use your other characters to do stuff outside of their detection cones. If you're just doing a one, and we will see that here in a little bit at the Bard camp, or I mean at the Goblin camp. However, if you're just doing one-on-one interactions and there's nobody else around, just talking to them or interacting with them, they turn to face you. And if you're actually in a conversation, meaning that you have a dialogue choice in that conversation, while you're in it, you can swap out of the conversation to another character, and that NPC will not move. They are stuck facing that person. And you can go around and do whatever you want without any fear of them turning around, because they are locked in that position. Okay. So from here, the only other thing that can be done here I don't know if I really shouldn't do this. And that's what Lord Henry was talking about. And I wasn't going to talk about this because I don't do this in any of my playthroughs. But, well, just to catch up on some of our quests here. So, the ones that we completed, we've done that. We talked to Gale a little bit. We learned about the Grand Duke being Will's father. We learned about Damon being able to upgrade her heart. And we know that Shadowheart is now a follower of Shar. So, here... Have we not talked to Maul in this playthrough? So we picked up Grand Duke Ravengard quest at Waukeen's Rest, and we freed Oscar, and we're going to meet him in... I guess we have not... I find that a little hard to believe that we didn't talk to Maul during this. Well, we'll go in here and see.
Here goes nothing.
Okay, yeah, we've been in here. The mini-map's all opened up. Here's Maul right here.
I had a feeling you'd be back. Nothing comes to mind. Always eager to accept donations, though.
Okay, did I just miss the quest?
When we get to Baldur's Gate. Why? You planning on telling me stealing is wrong? Didn't need your permission, but fine.
Okay.
Anything else?
So let me,
You've been a friend to us. Come back anytime.
I wonder if I didn't talk to him or talk to Maul. Yeah, because it's not in here. Okay. I wonder if I had to get the quest from him before in the completing the Investigate Kaga quest. Maybe that's what it is. You have to get it while the ritual is still happening, and then you can complete it after the ritual. So again, what this really comes in is Maul wants you to steal the Idol of Sylvanas. The Idol of Sylvanas is right here, and it's the focal point. It's what Arabella was trying to steal, and it's the focal point of the ritual. So if you get the quest from Maul before the ritual ends, before you've investigated Kaga, then the quest is still active even after you investigate Kaga. And once you've investigated Kaga and the ritual stops, it's a lot easier to steal the Idol of Sylvanas, because the druids who are posted around it are not all looking at it anymore. So you can steal the idol, you can take it back to Maul. Maul will give you a reward for it, and then you can actually pickpocket that back from Maul and put it back if you'd like. And there's no harm, no foul, basically, from anybody. It's a little bit cheesy, but you know, still perfectly doable in the game. The game really intends you to either stop the ritual or steal the idol from or for Maul to end the ritual. One of the two, not both per se. But that I think is where it is. I don't ever play that way because I don't want to steal the idol. The Idol of Sylvanas actually, in the lore of Forgotten Realms and the Emerald Grove, has a very high significance. So I tend not to, like I say, came from a tabletop background, so I tend not to focus on things that in the tabletop world would be a huge denigration of the Grove by doing it. But you do get a pretty decent reward from Maul if you've gotten this far. And I think I know I already have talked to the Ox over here, Eric. I don't know if I had speak with animals when I did it. But I've already talked to him, so the further interactions are going to be happening. Yeah. Doesn't matter whether you speak with animals or not. The interaction is just slightly different. I spoke to him, I believe, without having speak with animals, but I passed the Arcana check to find out there was something strange about him. You're going to have more encounters with the strange Ox as throughout the further acts in the game. So, alright, so now I've finished up what I wanted to do here inside the Emerald Grove. So what we need to do now is head out toward the Goblin Camp here. Okay, so we're going to head to the Blighted Village, and we're going to head out that way. We're actually going to do the Goblin Camp, and then we're going to do the tea house after that. Okay, so we're gonna kind of a little bit out of order in the way the game expects you to do them, but we're gonna head to the Blighted Village and head out west toward the Goblin Camp. And we haven't walked out this direction, so I'm back to my my walking somewhat slowly and exploring the areas type of movement here. Okay, now here I'm going to...
Can't give up now. On my way.
Okay, now up here you get a much better look at the temple here, which is currently being utilized as a camp for goblins. You can see them down here. And we did uncover a dirt mound. Hopefully this one's not as bugged. Yes, this one's fine. And Historian doesn't need any more thieves tools, so I'll just take those. Okay, and now we're back here at this outside southern or western area around the Blighted Village. And you can see we haven't explored any of this, so I'm going to open all this up real quick. And then we'll work our way into the Goblin Camp itself.
Don't touch me.
All's well that ends. Not as bad as it could have.
And again, holding Alt periodically as you go. Don't forget to
One day I'll catch a break.
hold left Alt as you're exploring. Makes it a lot easier to find things. So we're going to kind of make our way around here. Now we're underneath the area where we found the gnome's backpack. And now we're over here at the other pathway to get down into the sunlit wetlands.
That might be worth a look.
And I always thought there was going to be something here. It just looked too obvious. I can't be the only one that was thinking that. And yes, this is the other pathway that takes us down here into the sunlit wetlands. So now we're going to explore this southwestern route here as we head back toward the Goblin Camp.
All right. What now? If not over, then through.
Okay, so now you get to these areas over here, and you saw this. We were alerted to this by the goblin in the Blighted Village that was at the windmill. When he gave up, when he surrendered, he told us about this alternate way into the Goblin Camp here. Okay. And here we are. Now everything around the Blighted Village has been opened up. And we can now head across here into the Goblin Camp. Now there are multiple ways to approach how you want to go about the Goblin Camp. We're obviously going to only be exploring one of them here. But now our quest journal did update to defeat the goblins. This is what the whole tiefling in the Druid's Grove kind of quest line is about. And we are just going to walk right up to the front gate.
Look it, Claw. Sapper's here. Unless you got another reason to be here. Feck shite.
As the symbol glows, power courses through you. Authority.
Okay. So, if you don't use your Illithid power here, you can try and bluff your way in or talk your way in. I passed the intelligence check for nature, so that's why I have this option here to kind of compliment him on his warg. You can try and deceive your way in and all this sort of stuff as well. There's a rather unappetizing thing that happens if you try these other options here. That you kind of have to work yourself around. So otherwise you're going to get mud on your face. Literally. And it's not just mud. But I want to make sure, because honestly I can't remember how many times we've used our Illithid powers so far. Because of the different playthroughs I've had. So I'm going to use my Illithid tadpole power here for this encounter. Now, of all the characters that I have to be able to pass all of those persuasion checks and deception checks and that sort of stuff, the Bard is amazing at doing all of that.
Down, Claw! Bad girl!
Your mind lurches, reeling suddenly as if bitten.
Easy, lads. We got a true soul coming through. Lads are celebrating the raid on Waukeen's Rest. We captured a Duke, we did. All the way from the city. I'm sure the higher-ups will make sure you get the best of the spoils, your excelleness. The boss is in the temple inside. Midara, too. And Priestess Gut can show you how many new recruits we got. I don't know any housing, your excelleness. Oh, one of them thieves? If he ain't dead, he's in the pits with the rest of them.
Save the Druid if you must. If we spill goblin blood on the way, all the better.
Okay, so now we have access to the Goblin Camp here, and we're going to explore the outside areas of the camp here first. And then, once we've done that, we're going to head inside and make sure that we have one specific encounter while we still have Speak with Animals. And then we're going to take a long rest. And I want to do that because I believe now I've had 2 tadpole interactions here. And I want to explore that before we go into all of the big fights and everything inside. So let's just do some exploration around the outside here.
Someone there?
No one back home will ever believe this.
Okay, so I failed a perception check here. Perception check DC is a 17. So it's not an easy one to pass by any stretch here. So with this party makeup, it's going to be harder to find these because my wisdom checks critical fail. Nice. Are going to be pretty low.
Blade at the ready. Checking things out.
Another critical. Okay, here's all of those 19s and 18s and 17s coming back to bite me. Okay, so failed them here, but basically what's here is this is the other way in. You can see this leads you from this log over here. This entire area here is trapped. There are blast mines in here, and if you don't perceive them, you can't disarm them. You can...
Best be on my way.
The other thing that you also, that is also very commonly asked is, for instance...
Defender of the people. What a day.
Astarion has his firebolt cantrip. This is a web here. Lighting that web on fire does not blow up the mines that are in it. So you would need another way to do that. And this would be interesting.
Shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times.
Eager for battle.
Okay. I was seeing if it was going to blow up the mines or not.
Still breathing.
It doesn't.
Despite everything.
There are ways that you can get through here, utilizing other things like explosions and that sort of stuff, your smoke powder bombs and that sort of stuff. But there's no real need for me to do it. But this is, if you come in across the log here into this area, you'd have to detect and disarm and disable these traps. And there are more blast mines over here on this side. And then you can jump your way across here and get into the camp this way if you would like. So it's just another way into the camp that you can move in and bypass this main gate.
Someone there.
So here... Pathing. You're killing me. You're killing me, Smalls.
No time to rest.
Okay, so here, moving around this side, we have a couple of different ways we can go. We can either make our way down here. And you can jump to get over to this side. You can make your way up here to the top. You can talk to all of these goblins, but the interactions are going to be fairly small. But jumping across down here, from here to here, allows you to get into this back area. And basically, you can avoid the front gate entirely by moving along here, coming this way, and coming across the bridge into this area here. So if you don't want to deal with any of this, you can certainly avoid it all. But there's no reason for me, since I'm not on bad terms with the goblins, not to deal with it. Now, this is going to be interesting. I haven't actually done this in a playthrough.
A great taut drum sits before you. One strike would likely ring for miles, alerting goblin reinforcements.
Okay, so I passed. Let's see what this does.
From the far distance, you hear a blast of goblin voices.
That's lovely stuff, true soul. Only we smack that drum so the lads know there's killing on. Not to worry, I'll set them straight. Bit of music never hurt anyone, eh?
Awesome.
You hit the alarm, didn't you? Who we after?
True Soul wanted to, practice. You can scram.
Okay. The war drums serve a practical purpose. If you get into combat with the goblins, they might take a turn to go over and pound on the war drum and call for reinforcements. And it will do just like that. 3 more goblins will show up as reinforcements. So, be mindful of that if you're in combat, to be aware that the war drums can draw reinforcements. So, if someone's near you, or an enemy's near you, might want to see if you can take care of a war drum before going into combat, or making sure that they don't get an opportunity to ring it while you are in combat. Okay, so we're going to move around the outside over here. We have a group of goblins over here. And again, most of these things are going to be marked as steel.
I have something to ask.
Looking at a future true soul, you are. Boss Ragslin says I'm next in line.
Boss Ragslin, eh? Must be the goblin in charge.
Roll touche! Touche, touche, touche!
Well, hello.
No one stopped me yet. With haste.
Hear my voice. Obey my command.
The voice is irresistible. You recognize the overwhelming authority that you've used on others, only infinitely stronger. Your vision clouds, leaving you in a dark, featureless shadowscape, nothingness in every direction. Then there are 3 figures before you. An armored male elf exuding power and command. A handsome younger man with a quick, easy smile. And a pale young woman with even paler eyes.
These are my chosen. They speak for me. Aid their search for the weapon. And you will be worthy to stand beside them. In my presence.
The visions fade and the voice falters as a strange energy swells around you. The many-sided artifact. Somehow you understand it's repelling the presence.
My power grows. My forces gather. The reckoning draws near.
The voice is quelled. The artifact's doing.
Whatever power the artifact possesses, it shows no sign of it now.
Okay, so that is going to happen regardless of whether you have Shadowheart in your party or not, as you can see. So Shadowheart is not with us, and the artifact was in her possession up until this point. But if you have this interaction, or the one that leads you into the mountain pass from the Githyanki encounter, the artifact is going to move itself into your selected character's inventory. And you're going to have this interaction here. So it doesn't really matter where the artifact is. However, it is going to have a conversation impact with Shadowheart at some point. Okay, and continuing on up this road here leads you into the mountain pass. We're not going to be going this way yet. We are going to be going that way, but just not right now. That is a bit farther along in our storyline. Yeah, the artifact is going to change places. You've got that magic pockets feat that the game uses to plot armor the fact that you don't have the required items on your character sometimes when you do an interaction, and it basically allows quest items to move between character inventories whenever they're needed at all. So if you've got a key on somebody else that's needed to unlock a door, that key will be moved from one character's keyring to another character's keyring whenever. And why is Astarion carrying so many camp supplies? Oh, that was from looting the Waukeen's Rest. Don't need any of that carry weight. Okay, so now walking over this way, you have a nice broken bridge here at some point. You can Misty Step over here to this area and get to this area. However, we're going to be able to get to it from inside the main Goblin Camp anyway, so there's no point. And this is the way that leads you over where we just were a little bit ago. I said you could jump across this. So now we're going to make our way here into the main section of camp.
Sounds like they've captured themselves a bard.
And Volo is here up on the stage.
With fragulous crown and with scepter abraid, draw Ragslin, short work of the innkeeper made. The inn burnt to ash. The captives were many. Goblin kind had reduced them to cowering filtheny. So raise it, your goblets, and drain them with pride. Draw Ragslin, the true soul, had led you glad.
I reckon draw Ragslin's the gobbo in charge, the way this one's carrying on.
Interesting option here.
That was good. Carry it on, Pitting.
And if you saw him kill manlings, you'd have to yell, "Hum! Fa!"
It's going to start getting better here. There it is. We've got 4 inspirations, though.
Why? He's a meatier creature than any I've spied. Oh, Balderdash.
Oi, stranger! You meddling with my Pitting. He's talking stupid now.
Come, let's continue our ballad. Draw Ragslin, Draw Ragslin, I am Draw Ragslin, Tumptuous, Draw Ragslin,
You broke him!
Wait, wait, Draw Ragslin, we pray, we...
Come on, pigeon! Back to your cage!
Now, look what you've done.
Okay, so you get an option there now that we have a new quest to rescue Volo. Something that we're definitely going to have to do.
It don't feel right messing with it, is all.
Oh, shut it! What kind of coward won't even chase a baby?
Always a hilarious interaction to watch. Because there's no way to get up, or for him to get up and down, he just shoves him off, and it's perfect ending for Volo there. So something that you definitely want to explore is Grat the Trader here. He's very easy to miss.
You look like you got something jingling in your pocket. Looking to spend it?
Okay, and Grat always has some very interesting stuff here. So don't miss out on Grat. And like I said, we're going to talk to him now once, and then we're going to take a long rest after we've done another little area of this, and then come back to him to check his inventory again. But you have the standard selection of +1 stuff that's in here. You do have a returning pike. Now this is a homing weapon. This is not the last one of these that you're going to see. But pikes can be thrown. They are two-handed, and this one, when you throw it, it returns to your hand. So it's like a 1d10 ranged weapon that's +1, basically. So it's a rather interesting weapon to have. You also have the Doom Hammer. This is a maul, so again, two-handed weapon that has the Edge of Terror perk on it. Now, this is really, really powerful against undead enemies. This is, again, disadvantage is a huge deal. When you get into fights with undead, being able to have multiple attacks against those undead enemies with your fighter classes or your martial classes, and inflicting disadvantage on every one of them that you hit can be huge. So say you're at a level where you've got an extra attack, you've got action surge, you've got a bonus attack on or an attack with your bonus action. So maybe you can attack 4 or 5 times per turn. You add haste on top of that. Maybe you can get yourself up to 6 or 7 attacks per turn. And you're surrounded by undead. Then hitting each one of them one time with the Doom Hammer and inflicting disadvantage on them is massive. Then you're surrounded by a bunch of creatures who are going to have a much harder time hitting you. The Doom Hammer can be extraordinarily useful in things. Well, I'm not going to spoil anything, but think of what undead are and what types of creatures are undead, and encounters where you might be surrounded by a bunch of them. And you can think about how useful this thing could be in those type of situations. So the Doom Hammer is always something good to have sitting around for your melee martial classes, even if, like, for now, I'm not going to utilize it right now. The Boots of Aid and Comfort are another one of those healer type of things. Whenever the wearer heals a target, you gain 3 additional hit points. So right now, I'm not wearing any particular boots other than the Githyanki boots that give me athletics +1. This, whenever I cast heal on somebody, is going to give me 3 temporary hit points. 3 temporary hit points is not much, but it's better than nothing. Then you have the Gloves of Archery. Now, these are Corlon's Guiding Hand is the effect. You gain proficiency with longbows and short bows, and your ranged weapon attacks deal an additional 2 damage. Now, the first part of that is important for people who don't have proficiency with those weapons, but the second part is arguably more important, in that your ranged weapon's doing an additional 2 damage. If you have a 1d8 longbow, then that's 25% additional guaranteed damage on top of your bow's performance. So it can be a huge boost in usage of those type of ranged attacks. Okay, then you've got a couple other various things that he's going to have available that can change. Your hide armor +2, we don't need it. It's medium armor, but it's only 14 compared to the 15 that you have from scale mail +1. The benefit here is that you gain a +1 bonus to dexterity saving throws and checks, and you gain a +1 bonus on initiative rolls, which can be very useful. I'm just much more interested in the armor class. And then you have the Swiresy shoes. This is basically a straight increase in your jump distance. So if you have a character that has a small jump distance and you want to be able to boost it periodically, the Swiresy boots or Swiresy shoes can help do that. One of the people who constantly has a problem jumping into areas that we need them to jump into is Astarion. So having the Swiresy shoes in his inventory to be able to use to move him into an area to pick a chest that he needs to jump to can be very useful. Okay, so all 4 of those are stuff that I want to have around me. I'm not going to use all of them right now. Some of them are going to be situational in being used. However, some of these are also going to come into their own a little bit later when we finish boosting, or we finish getting our builds for our characters where we want them to be and equipped how we want them to be. Okay, so for Baldur here, do I still have the Spell Thief? I do. I'm going to get rid of the Spell Thief. I'm not going to use it. I'm going to keep Reason's Grasp. I needed to send that to my camp for Karlach. Nothing else here. The Hammer Raft. No, I'm going to... Boy, you get into this situation where you just want to keep everything. And I'm a pack rat by nature. But I'm going to send the Hammer Raft to my camp. So I'm going to balance out this offer here with additional gold, and I'm going to barter this. So let me make sure there's nothing else, because I think there are a couple of things. Yeah, Astarion can sell off. Some of these clothes that we don't need. And I'm about ready to... Okay.
Get moving. I've got other customers.
So here, let's go through our inventory real quick and the things that we've picked up here recently. Okay, so the first was we did loot the Abyss Beckoners from inside the Zhentarim hideout. These have the Demon Spirit aura. So the wearer's summoned creature has resistance to all damage except psychic damage. So for a character that has a summon, which it can be your warlocks, depending upon which subclass you've chosen, your druids, obviously, things like that. This would give those summoned creatures resistance to all damage against psychic damage. It also works to summon things like elementals and that sort of stuff. So it can be very interesting for spellcasters as well, especially when you're summoning big elementals to fight for you and that sort of stuff. However, at the start of that summoned creature's turn, it must succeed in a wisdom saving throw or be driven mad, and mad creatures can attack anything around them, regardless of whether they're friend or foe. So, when you're thinking about utilizing this, the type of summon that you have and the ability scores that that summon has can be, or need to be thought about, because if it's got a very low wisdom, it's going to be driven mad almost immediately, and things aren't going to be this, you know, then things turn really bad for you. It's not going to be nearly as useful in that case. So think about that when you're trying to utilize something like the Abyss Beckoners. So the Swarzy shoes, I'm going to keep on Astarion. That's the reason that I bought them, is so that I can increase his jump distance when we're out of combat to get him into areas where there needs to be a picked chest or something like that. The gloves of archery are the combat things that I'm going to want Astarion to wear. And what I mean by that is that I'll change out to the gloves of thievery before I pick chests or pick locks. But his normal going into combat is going to be wearing the gloves of archery, so that he can gain an additional +2 bonus from his hand crossbow. When he has another hand crossbow, that second hand crossbow also gains an additional 2 damage. So, and there are going to be a couple of other hand crossbows that we're going to be keeping on the lookout for Astarion. So the boots of aid and comfort are just a straight upgrade for me here on these. So that's going to kind of get us back to where we want ourselves to be. Okay. So I think that gets us where we wanted. Yes, and the Doom Hammer and Hammer Raft. Well, I'm going to keep the Doom Hammer for now on Lae'zel. But Hammer Raft I'm going to send to my camp. And that should be good. Okay. So now, while we still have speak with animals here, look who made it over here.
Well, now, you look like a tough un, but have you got smarts, skills, guts? And you're gonna need it, mate. This ain't your standard dungeon dive, right? This is chicken chasing. It's got feathers, don't it? A beak? Besides, I reckon it owes us, seeing as how it just ate our last chicken. Reckon it owes us a game. You want to hear the rules or not? Only the greatest game since eggs sprouted legs, mate. You just gotta chase the chicken round the course and through the posts. But that ain't all. Gotta do it quick and alone. Any of your mates step in, you lose. Time runs out, you lose. Sound easy? It ain't. Better contenders than you have been bested by the bird. Fancy yourself, do you? Care to pin that claim down with some coin?
Okay, so there are, again, multiple ways to play this encounter. And you can play this straight up. You can play it straight up with a twist. You can refuse to play it. And you can pick a fight, so to speak. So I'm going to play this one particular way, but it is, like I say, it's just one of many ways here to do it. If you play it straight up, the chicken chasing mini game itself is actually somewhat difficult because the movements of the owlbear cub are random, and you really have to save before you go into it, and then when you get into it, try and make sure that you're blocking off access to certain areas so that you can get the owlbear to move where you want it to move. And it takes a bit of knowing how that game works to get it right. You're not going to get it right the first time unless you're just extraordinarily lucky. So I would encourage you, if you're going to play it straight up, to save beforehand so you can reload it. The other 3 ways you can all determine how things are going to go based upon your conversations here. I'm going to, if you pick a fight and you just kill all the goblins out here, that's one way to deal with this encounter. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to deal with the goblins on the way out of here, basically. If you talk your way through with Krola here, there is an option where you can quit this conversation and then you can go back into the conversation. You can tell her that it's basically cruelty to animals and you have to pass a persuasion check or use your Illithid power to get her to release the owlbear cub. Or you can play it kind of this way with a twist. And I've done this in my personal live stream. I've played all these different ways in my personal playthrough, but haven't done it here. And the timing on this can be a little strange. So we'll see if it works. If not, I'm just going to end up losing some money. But for now, let's try and do it this way. So I'm actually gonna up my wager.
Cocky, eh? Maybe you've got the skill to back it up, or maybe I'm about to make a heap of coin. Let's get a crowd going and find out, eh? We're starting a new game.
Okay, so now I'm going to follow, and you see my group automatically breaks apart. Only the character that you talked to Krola with is going to be available to you right now. So I'm going to wait until Krola gets up here, and then I'm going to walk up this way.
Getting close to the beast. If he bites, just bite him back. What are you chatting to me for? Chicken ain't gonna chase itself.
Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to the owlbear cub.
Close to the beast.
Hurt me. Run. Where?
Okay, so I have an option here to start off here. So you can get the owlbear to try and kill the goblins. That's not going to go very well. Okay.
Chase that thing!
Run. Get me.
Okay, so now I can persuade it to run to the posts.
Safe. There. Run.
Okay, and now it will run directly where it's supposed to go. And you win.
That's the game done. Come here.
Okay, now there is a time limit on all of that. It's a hidden time limit before you fail. But before I go back to Krola, I'm going to go talk to the owlbear cub again.
Mother gone. Hungry. New home? Maybe. Got to get away from here first.
The cub seems anxious to leave, but afraid to defy the goblins. They have to be dealt with one way or the other.
Okay, so that's the encounter there where you talk to the owlbear cub and let it know that it can join you in your camp if you'd like. And it wants to. It just needs to, you have to get rid of all the goblins first.
Well, look here. thing works even better in a chicken. Reckon we won't eat it after all. Pardon? You're what? Think you misunderstood, mate. Ain't no winnings, 'cause only a goblin can win chicken chase. Says so in the rules.
The mark glows, but you feel nothing in response. Your illithid power is beyond reach until you rest.
Okay, so you can use your illithid power there to win this. Well, not automatically. You still have a natural 1 failure chance. But I do have persuasion here. So it's a rather high DC. I'm actually going to add friends here. Wow. I'm actually going to roll that again.
All right. No need to get weepy over it, like. Here.
Okay.
Nice and chewy.
So now I can join up with the rest of my party over here again.
Humans ain't good for much, but they make tasty beer.
And the cub is going to be now just running around the camp. Okay. Now, here I'm going to... actually, I'm going to do one other encounter here first. I'm going to go back here and talk to Crusher. And I'm going to make sure everybody in your party's with you when you get up here for this.
So, I'm shooting fresh disarm with me bare hands. Weaker than pixies, humans.
Oh, you got him good.
And who are you? A half-elf, thinking you rule the world.
The mark glows, but you feel nothing in response. Your illithid power is beyond reach until you rest.
Well, not us. Things are changing. We got the absolute on our side now. You better learn your place. Go on. Kiss my foot. Or I'll wipe that nasty look right off your pretty face.
End him or leave him. But don't you dare grovel to this slug.
Okay, so I do have an intimidation check here. I can add in guidance for this.
Look, mate, just piss off. You're not welcome here.
Okay, now I have another intimidation check here. Failed that one. Just barely, though. Not going to use my last inspiration on it. If I'd have rolled even halfway decently there, I'd have been okay, but a 5 and a 3 or whatever weren't going to make it.
Don't push it, worm. I can still bash your face in. Yeah, I think I will.
So, now the Goblin Camp is going to get interesting. Okay, but this fight is limited. Okay, you can see there are other goblins around here right now. So, oh, he had Ensnaring Strike.
Wait! I yield! I yield!
Take his head. He won't be putting it to good use.
Yes! Yes! There! There! I've done it.
Gods, I'm not sure who to pity more for that display. You or the goblin?
Arrogant pig.
Okay. So, that's just one of many different ways to play this encounter. But you want to focus on Crusher. Ultimately. He's the key to the entire thing, so don't focus on any of his other people around him. Just focus on him, and it's basically just a duel, so to speak. So, and now for Historian. And there's nothing on the Dead Adventurer, so nothing to find up here. I always found that a little bit odd. I continue to search it every time, just to see if there could possibly have ever been something there or something that randomly shows up, but there's not. So for the rest of this, you can search over some crates that are out here and have some camp supplies. We're not yet there, Lord Henry.
I want to have a word.
You look like you think you're hard. Mess with us, and you'll end up like this bleeder. Yeah, too right. So don't go starting nothing.
Yeah, and Pete, that's exactly why I try and make slightly different choices in my playthroughs, so that you can see different ways that things can be done. So, here I do need to bring.
Don't touch me.
Historian up here.
What now? Need to find a way forward.
Puke sting.
Okay, so there's a wooden chest here.
Hardly a challenge.
And I left my gloves of thievery off here. This is one of those things that I need to get used to now. It's going to be hard. I'm sure I'm going to go into some situations where I forget to make the change. But with a total bonus of 10, even without the gloves, you can only fail on a nat 1. Okay, so Rancer, there are some bottles and camp supplies you can pick up here. And down here in this area, I actually wanted to have guidance on before I came down here.
What's that?
I didn't notice that it had run out, but I passed the survival check anyway.
Puke stink.
And these chests are a little strange. Okay. And then you can follow this down here into this area.
What a day.
Yeah.
Looking ahead.
Okay, so here, looking around, not like the goblins ever bathe, so I doubt that's them using this. Then you can continue on here.
Time to press ahead.
And you see there's a cragged rock you can climb up.
Watch how you go. There's a trap.
I was not on top of that. Again, I was going to ungroup everybody so that they wouldn't, the rest of my companions wouldn't follow me up here because, look, I'm not over that tripwire. That's why I specifically clicked up there. This game, it's like the tripwires are you know, motion sensing or something. So now up here you can do some searching.
Keep your distance, darling. Oh, for a skeleton.
And I don't have my advantage again. Yeah, I hate the fact that some of these traps are just so, like I say, because of how a video game operates versus how a tabletop operates. Just one of those things. Okay, so the parchment here is about someone named Claga, and she is talking to Minthara, who we're going to meet here in a little bit, and talks about how she was chasing chickens when Minthara showed up, and she felt special about it, and next raid she'll spill a lot of blood and then come to Moonrise. And she's the one with the stumpy leg and the gamey eye. So, just something, again, interesting. So, this is nothing else. It's just a love letter that the goblin was trying to write. Whoops. Pick up. And one more vase to search here for some more camp supplies, and that's it. So there is something to search up here. Don't forget about it.
Never mind.
You will get a random +1 item out of it. I got a +1 great axe. So, and since I am going to end up taking a long rest, I can take my short rest and get my hit points back here.
Can't even enjoy drinking. Yes.
Yeah, Peter, that's exactly right. If your DM ever tells you that there's a waterfall in tabletop, there is always, and I mean always, going to be something hidden behind it. So, always go search it. So, now you can, we've kind of explored most of this. However, let's go look at the chicken chasing area over here. And right here, we'll break our group, and we'll take Astarion with us.
Watch the shadows.
And up here on top, you can hold Alt and look around. You can pick up these paintings up here. Okay, so that failed. It was somewhat expected, though. Whoops. Okay, so we'll move Astarion back here.
On my mind. And, well, in it. Another step forward.
Oh, and just in case you didn't notice it, I now have temporary hit points, 3 of them. Those are from the boots of Aid and Comfort. I healed somebody by short resting. So that's where it works. I don't think that's intended to be that way, but it does.
At least things have stayed interesting.
That might be worth a look.
Okay, so now I'm going to bring Astarion up here. I'm going to put him into hiding and have him search the chest. Scroll of Fear and Scroll of Dark Vision. Nice. Okay, and now I've pretty much finished up this portion of the outside areas. Now there's one other area up top that we want to go look at. Yeah, it is self-healing, but I don't think that's really how the boots, the wording of the boots are intended to convey. So kinda interesting, but we'll see. So we can make our way up and around here.
Don't mind if I do.
And now one thing you're going to start to notice are these little rock formations with a dark spot in the middle. What these are is basically fast travel points. You can see them scattered around. There's another one down here. There's a couple more at various locations, like there's one over here. Basically, there's one here. Basically what they do is they allow the goblins to move from down here to up here without having to take this long and windy path here, or without climbing up here and trying to jump up to here. And that means that the upper area here is not 100% secure, because if it was, it would trivialize the fight later on even more than it already does. But keep that in mind. Now you can plug these up. You can put items on top of these and cover them up so that they aren't able to be used, kind of like the vents that you saw. So if you really want to prevent anybody from coming up below, there are 6 areas up here where these are. And if you cover them all up, then they can't be used. And that means any goblins down here that are hostile will have to take the long way around to get to you. Alright, so just keep that in mind. That's what they're used for.
I've got a long road ahead.
Okay, we do have some sleeping goblins up here.
Looks like the boom's got the better of them. They're practically unconscious.
And some more camp supplies. And you can loot all of this stuff up here. And we perceive the wall. The cracked wall is sturdy. We've talked about these before, which means that we need to deal at least 10 damage to the wall to be able to damage it. Okay, so normal attacks by small weapons and that sort of stuff are not going to work.
think that'll fit in my pack.
Okay, so now I'm gonna jump up to here. And then I'm gonna jump up here. Okay. Alright, there we go. And we pick up some camp supplies and just a longbow. Now we can make our way around over here. Now again, I'm going to have Astarian cast guidance.
Let's move. Breathe deep and move. Trap.
Okay.
Be cautious.
So I found that one.
Be wary. This place
Okay, and I found that one. So now I'm not going to forget to put my gloves of thievery on. I'm going to break my group and have Astarian come up here and disarm this. If I can find the one pixel where the disarm key works. Okay, so there is one more, so I'm going to have
Let's get going.
guidance cast here and try and move up and find it.
Be wary.
Okay.
This place is trapped. Still alive, so that's progress.
Okay, and now you can see that there are no more traps or anything like that here, so we do have a locked chest.
What now? Symbol.
And we pick up the glowing shield. Okay, so the glowing shield is a really interesting shield to have for anybody who's going to be carrying it. And it's just like a lot of the other items that are below 50% hit point type triggering items. So when you're 50% of your hit points, or not 50% or below, when you are below 50% of your hit points take damage, you gain 8 temporary hit points. So can be, again, very, very useful as you're going. And I think this is probably something
sharp as ever.
that I'm going to keep in reserve for Lae'zel when she wields single-hand weapons to up her armor class. She's going to be the one that would more than likely be in that situation, so having those additional 8 hit points as a bonus could be very, very useful for her.
Never a dull moment.
Okay, so now here, and this was very funny the first time I did this in early access. You can, and see now they have it labeled death. In early access, you could actually jump down here. It would let you do it. But as soon as you landed, you would die. And I was so upset when that happened the first time. I could not believe that the game was actually designed to allow that. And they've hence changed it so that now it tells you that you're going to die if you jump down there. So one of those interesting things, and I think that change happened in patch 9, if I'm not mistaken, while it was still in early access. But yeah, it was an incredible frustration for a lot of people, their first time coming through there. So now this upper area that you're on up here, again, the waterfall that we explored is here. So now you can see that we have access to this area, and there's a ladder leading down here to where we had the encounter with Crusher. You can also jump over onto this area, jump over onto here, and if your strength is high enough, you can jump onto here and make your way around in this area. There's nothing else over here. However, there is another chest over in this area. But the jump to get from here over to there is harsh, I will say. And we'll go look at that area right now. Actually, we won't. We're going to continue on over here first. We need to get Astarion up here.
Watch your back.
What to do?
Okay, so we have a hand axe and another skeleton over here we can search. And another elixir of Hill Giant Strength. That's nice.
What path lies before me?
Never noticed that spot before. Okay, so now we can make our way back around over to the other side over here. And this is where, from personal experience, if you're holding Hammer Raft right now and you jump down here, it's going to cause damage and wake everybody up, and you're going to have a bad time. So, again, just one of those things about Hammer Raft. Okay, so over here on this side, I told you about this area here. Okay, and from here, Lae'zel right now has a 17 strength. She's the highest strength character that we have, but see, even for her, it's too far to get over there. Okay, now her Githyanki jump allows her to jump over there. Okay. And all there is a heavy crossbow here. Now we can make our way back.
Never a dull moment.
And we can again group everybody up.
If the gods are watching me.
Okay, so now the last thing that we want to do out here is deal with the cracked wall. Okay, now there's a couple of issues with the cracked wall here, and I don't think I have a way to deal with it. I don't here. Yes, I don't here. Let me just make sure. I don't think I took that on anybody. No, I did not. So here inside of or with the cracked wall, you have to, there are a couple of different ways to go about opening up the cracked wall. The best way to do it here is to cast Silence right here at the base of the wall. Silence means that no sounds are able to get into the area of silence, or more importantly, out of that area. Okay? So me attacking this wall is going to wake up the goblins here. And things are going to get sporty if they're sleeping when you try and do this. So a better way to go about this is the fact that they are asleep right now means that any attack that hits this creature is a crit, as long as you are doing it within melee distance. Okay, so what we're going to do is bring Lae'zel out here. We're going to move her up close to make double sure, and we're going to attack Tracker Dolwill here. And that's a crit. And you see, since it was a one-hit crit, nobody else wakes up.
Undetected, unheard, unseen.
Okay. Now we can get away with that up to a certain point. However, these two bugbears have enough hit points that we're not going to be able to get a crit that's going to kill them. And honestly, I haven't... This is an interesting question, because I haven't actually experimented with this myself. I don't know if me breaking this wall is going to wake them up. They're quite a bit farther away from this wall, so I don't know if it's going to or not. Oh, yeah. That isn't going to work. Okay, good. So it looks like they're far enough away that me hammering on that wall doesn't wake them up. And that's perfectly fine with me. Now, you can take them out up here, and if your characters are situated far back away from the edge, then more than likely the combat up here that you're having with these two is not going to alert the rest of the goblins down here. Okay. So you can take them out. I was just interested to see if I even had to right now, and it doesn't look like I do. So I'm going to group everybody up.
Breathe quiet.
And now that I've opened this up, I am done, and I can make my way back down here.
One day I'll catch a break.
And I'm done with the outside area here. So now I'm going to make my way into the interior of the temple here.
Cheers! Cheers! Cheers!
Actually, I am not done yet. Actually, yeah, I'll do it this way. I'm going to make my way in here. I'm going to split the group.
They're just having a bit of fun.
And I do have one. So I'm going to take Astarion back out. And I'm just going to plant Astarion over here. Now, there are two different ways you can do this. I'll choose the speedy way, I guess. And I'll bring my bard out here as well. You can position yourself
Should mind my step.
so that Astarion, depending upon how the movement of the goblins is currently working, Astarion can go into hiding right where he is.
Careful.
Okay, so probably, yeah, probably like right now, if I go into turn-based mode, you can see there's no detection cones overlapping Astarion right now. You definitely want to do this in turn-based mode. You don't want to do this you don't want to try and manage it while they're all walking around in not random directions, but they have a lot of patrol patterns out here. Okay, so then, and actually this worked out really well.
Be brief.
Let's move.
Normally you have to wait a little bit longer to get everybody to clear out and kind of time it right. But this worked out so well. Or the other way to do it is to have your bard sit here and use the perform action. Actually, I'll just do it that way instead. So if you stand here and you do perform, and I can just pick a song, doesn't matter. You see, everybody moves towards me, and now Astarion can go into hiding. Okay, so, oh, these are the... They shouldn't have been there anyway. They're moving around to come see me. So, now I can go into hiding here, and you can poison the tub. Alright?
Radio note.
And who sees me? Oh. This bugbear here is walking around, and he wants to come over here as well. Okay, so this is why you do it in turn-based mode. Okay, and now it's poisoned. So I'm going to move Astarion the hell and gone from this area. And now with my bard, I can just make my way back this way. Send her back inside. Go back out with Astarion.
A toast to our victory, and many more to come.
And they're having a toast out here.
When we gave into the drow. To finding those looters and crushing them.
To the absolute.
And that wipes out about half of the Goblin Camp. Now there are a couple of different ways to play through that. If you have a character out there in the middle of all of that, after it's spiked, they will want to have a toast with you, and you will have to pass a sleight of hand check to avoid drinking the poison that you just gave, or that you just poisoned here. So in that case, you definitely want to have Astarion out there so he can have a much better chance of passing that sleight of hand check. But if you don't have any of your characters anywhere near this after you poison it, then you're not involved in any of that at all. You don't have to make any checks, you don't have to do anything, you're just not part of it.
Don't linger.
So that you can play it either one of those two ways. And you don't have to poison this at all. But it is certainly one more thing to show off. It's not something I do in many of my playthroughs. So.
No time to rest.
Okay, so I can group everybody back up. And actually, I'm going to lead with the Astarion here.
Racket. Oh, come on now. Oi! Ain't no party in here. We're doing the Absolute's work. State your business. Now.
As the symbol glows, power courses through you. Authority.
Astarion hasn't used his illithid power today, so...
Your mind lurches, reeling suddenly as if bitten.
Oh, beg pardon. You must be here to join the other true souls. Please, go right ahead. Bloody racket.
And I'm going to continue to lead with the Astarion
They're just having a bit of fun.
as I go into this main room here.
Those thieves almost got past.
There are things you can search in here. We'll take care of all that later on.
Do you feel her inside you?
I only hear her through you, priestess.
That's because she
Smells like burnt flesh
me. You're not worthy yet.
Okay, so now we can have an interaction with Priestess Gut here. And this is going to be the last thing that we do on the live stream here. We're going to talk to True Soul Gut.
All right.
Now here's somebody special. The Absolute has touched you, hasn't she? Priestess Gut needs to touch you too. Hold out your arm so I can mark your flesh.
A priestess. One of the leaders, no doubt about it. Let's make her squeal.
What's that? Tell your friend to keep quiet, or he'll lose his good eye. Ready for the fire, are ya? Let's the faithful recognize one another quick sharp. That way nobody'll mess with ya. And it's charged with magic. Ordinary slobs can't see it, only us that follow the Absolute. You ready? Brace yourself, this'll sting.
Okay, so you have some options again on how you're going to play this. and how you're going to make it work. I actually went through Astarion with this just out of habit. I didn't want to do Astarion. So I'm anxious to know what happens if I don't go through with it. I would prefer the mark to be on somebody else, though. I can't remember the conversations. If I refuse to do it here, if she automatically proceeds into the meet me in my chambers section of the conversation, or if I can exit out of the conversation. Let's try
Maybe
this
you
and
don't
see what
need
happens.
it. After all, you're special, ain't you? Like me.
She probes your mind, tangling your thoughts with hers.
I think this means I'm
A
not actually going to
familiar
be able to get the
sensation.
brand, but we'll
She
see.
too carries a power. Darkness seems to swallow the temple, leaving you with a vision of the Goblin Priestess, receiving instruction from a handsome young man, one of the chosen. The vision dissolves away. You stand before the Goblin Priestess in the temple once again. Your minds brush against one another, but are swiftly parted.
Don't want to get intimate in front of the novices. Fair enough. Got some weird shadows in your head. Maybe I could help with that. Us true souls gotta look out for one another.
Okay, so here's the can we talk privately thing. Let me just leave the conversation.
Is that how we were meant to turn out?
Okay.
Deluded cultists who...
Let me see if I can get it here.
Now here's somebody special. The absolute
Yeah, looks like I can here.
you.
As long as you can
Doesn't she?
exit the
Priestess Gut
conversation
needs to touch you
and you
too.
don't follow her back to her room yet, then you can get everybody in your party to be branded.
Priestess. One of the leaders, no doubt.
Okay, so if you want the brand on everybody, you certainly can get
What's
it.
that?
It's
Tell your
not
friend to keep
it's not a big
quiet,
deal. So
or he'll lose his good eye.
I went with Astarion just out of habit, and that was because of my early access playthroughs.
Ready for the
But
fire,
in this
are ya?
one, I want to have it more on Lae'zel, I think.
Let's the faithful recognize one another quick sharp. That way nobody'll mess with ya. And it's charged with magic. Ordinary slobs can't see it. Only us that follow the absolute. You ready? Brace yourself. This'll sting. Hold still.
As pain muddles your thoughts, your minds become entangled. A familiar sensation. She too carries a parasite. Darkness seems to swallow the temple, leaving you with a vision of the Goblin Priestess, receiving instruction from a handsome young man, one of the chosen. The vision dissolves away. You stand before the Goblin Priestess in the temple once again. Her faith floods into you, a tide of shuddering ecstasy. Her tadpole nestles within that mania, secure, hidden.
I feel you in there, digging around. Works both ways. And I saw some weird shadows swimming around in your head just now. Maybe I could help with that. Us true souls gotta look out for one another. Of course. Don't want this rabble interfering with true soul business. Let's go to my chapel.
Oi! Priestess! We
Okay,
want the
so
mark.
that option is she's going to take off. I mean, it's not just that option, but she's going to take off into her room over here.
Without delay. Is that blood? No, never mind. Need to find a way forward.
And you can go in here and talk to her. And one thing you want to do is close the door.
Oi, come here. I ain't waiting around.
Okay, so I'm going to talk to True Soul Gut here.
Only those that have faith are welcome here. Clear off before I cut ya.
Okay, that lets you know that she only wants to talk to the ones that are branded. Okay, so what I'm going to do...
You hear right hard. Heading out. How delicious. On my way. Into the shadows. They won't see me coming.
That's a friendly-looking shadow. We must speak.
Ready to clear your head?
Okay, so in this conversation here, you're going to run through the whole get help from Priestess Gut section of the questline.
Smart. All you need to do is open yourself to the absolute. And I'll do the rest.
Psionic feelers creep across your mind, like a pickpocket's fingers seeking flaws in fabric.
Okay, and again, you have different ways to approach this, and how you want to do it. However, there is another way to go about doing this.
You sought a fight, and now you have one.
Okay. And that's that now that she's alone in her room here, and the door's closed, so no wandering goblins coming by here can see into the room, because that can possibly happen with some of the goblins that are patrolling around here. She's isolated, and you can kind of work your magic in private here. And I need to get her...
The blade will not bend. Go for the throat. The world just
Okay.
got a little less wretched.
And that ends the Goblin Priestess for help. Now, there's another way to play this. If you talk to her, she's going to want to put you to sleep. She'll give you a potion to put you to sleep. If you drink it, you'll end up in the Goblin prison as one of her prisoners. And she will come visit you periodically. And then after a while, someone's going to show up and kill Priestess Gut for you and free you from prison. And if you want to explore that option, I'll let you explore it. It's actually a pretty cool set of cutscenes and that sort of stuff. But like I say, there are multiple ways to play this out. And again, we got another Mind Flayer Parasite specimen, which is very important. And the rest of this is fairly straightforward. Okay, so this talks about the fact that Halsin has been captured, and she said that that Halsin might know a way to get rid of the parasite, and that he's down in the warg pens. Meet down in the pens. And he's down in the warg pens right now for you to go find him. Right? So, you can talk to...
What now?
Priestess Gut.
The corpse seems willing to speak.
Oh, yeah,
but
my
not
fault.
to
I
its
forgot
killer.
about that. And because I haven't illustrated this, I don't think I've illustrated this. Okay, the Mask of the Shapeshifter. Oh, I don't know if I'll be able to cast it anyway because of its refusal, but we'll see. The Mask of the Shapeshifter, which comes with the Digital Deluxe Edition, gives you the Shapeshift spell, and you can change your appearance. And it changes everything about you. So now that I have that, okay, so the Amulet of Lost Voices, because it was already used by Will, it hasn't gotten its charge back yet. I haven't long rested since the last time I did it. So, but you can see the Mask of the Shapeshifter changes everything about your appearance, and then you can utilize your changed appearance to talk to, use the Speak with the Dead spell, and they won't know that you're the killer. And you can proceed with interrogating them in, from the dead. So, but what we're going to do is we have one last thing that we want to do in here that is going to need Speak with Animals. We still have that active, so we're going to go do that at the start of next week. We're going to kick off next week by going to do that, and then we're going to head back to camp and we're going to take a long rest. That's going to remove Speak with Animals. And at that point, oh, actually, Will...
Defender of the people.
Will still has... Actually, I can just go a little bit long here. And, oh, I used it already. So now Will's not going to be able to use it. Oh, no, he can use it. Oh, because it's just an action. So... And yeah, I can't speak to him, and that's what I was worried about. If it fails the first time, I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. So you can avoid that by changing your appearance completely using the Helm of the Shapeshifter, and then they won't realize that you're the one that killed them and you can talk to them. There's nothing that you're really going to learn from her that if you've played early access before that you don't know already. But that is something to keep in mind. If you ever want to speak to somebody after you've killed them, just use the Helm of Shapeshifter or the Disguise Self spell if you don't have the Digital Deluxe Edition. The Disguise Self spell will do the same thing, and you can cast it as normally and they'll talk to you. So as I said, I think that's where we're going to end the playthrough today. Stay tuned in an hour at 1:45, so in about 40 minutes we'll start the countdown timer and the chatting for the Paladin live stream, and then we will actually start playing the Paladin live stream at 2 o'clock my time, which is in 56 minutes from now. So again, for those of you who aren't going to be able to join, I'd like to thank everyone for joining me today. Without your support, none of this would be possible. This is Commander Jorval saying, until next time, fare thee well.